Hey, just me tonight. Just thought I'd jump on. It's been an interesting one this week. So yeah. So I kind of this week on Grant Talks for the Bits is just me, and I am running late as well, which is unlike me. But I was caught on another stream, and literally I had to go from one to another to another. I tell you what was weird. As I was mid-stream, which is why I'm running late. I actually thought I was being burgled because as I was talking whilst I was mid-live, I could hear footsteps above my head as well. Jason Nobby Morgan is here, says, tut, tut. Jason, how are you? Were those your legs I saw on Facebook earlier on a Motability scooter? You're weird, very weird. Oh, thank you very much. Hey, buddy. That came from nowhere, Jason. Thank you for that. So tonight there's no guest, it's just me. But I thought, you know what? Let's just have a bit of a chinwag. Let's talk about Grant Talks Funny Bits, how you guys are enjoying it. I'm really enjoying them. The show keeps to be evolving a little bit, and we've had some great guests on, and we're starting to kind of move into the kind of development of stage hypnosis shows as well. I thought it was really great. Someone on YouTube was going through all the comments. Do check out the YouTube stuff as well. But yeah, someone was on YouTube talking on your particular live stream, Richard Cole, and slagging me off, which I thought was quite funny. But yeah, it's really cool. So yeah, do let me know how things are where you are. Here's what something we've not often done, but I'm going to do it tonight just for giggles. The guest I was going to have on this week couldn't be on, but you know these things happen, and I didn't want to rush around today trying to get somebody on because, to be honest, the weather was glorious outside today, and I did not want to waste it. So in between Zoom meetings, it's been a really busy day. So in between Zooms and everything else, I was trying to catch some sunshine as well, maybe get some tone on this pale white skin. So here's the thing. If you are wanting to jump on this stream, I have just, has it gone in there? That is the link. We can jump on. We can just have a bit of a chinwag. Here's an interesting thing that's going on as well. If you're a stage hypnotist watching this as well, we also have Paul Ramsay does a stage hypnotist mastermind, which you should be involved in. It's really great. Glorious, I just had a tornado warning come on my phone. That's not good. So we expect your internet to cut out any time. So yeah. Is this like, it's a weird like tornado warning, and I'm not undermining tornadoes. I'm sure they're dead scary, but I was in Hong Kong a few years ago, and there was a typhoon warning, and I panicked, and everyone else was just like, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's just a typhoon." There we go. Paul Ramsey says, "I am sweet." Oh, thank you very much. And oh dear me, look who's here. Call the cops. There he is.
Hello.
How was you?
All right, man. You?
I'm all right, just about. I've just about recovered from the 150.
Hang on a minute.
There we go. Do you call them tornadoes? Oh, is that the Canadian way of saying tornado? Yes, I think they do actually. Yeah. So yeah, Jason Nobby Morgan. Me and Jason are actually going to be doing a head-to-head show in Wales at some point in the future, which we're looking for autumn time here in the UK. I suppose it's autumn time everywhere. October is October. But yeah, I'm looking forward to, autumn time here in the UK.
What suit are you going to get, Grant? Because I'm wearing purple.
I'm actually planning on getting a new suit done here.
I go for pink.
Look at this, guys. Make some noise. We have there we go. Boom. Hello, sir. How are you?
Good. And you?
I am good. How are you?
I'm okay. Sorry for my English. I'm French.
Oh, that is perfect. Is that? I've had a French hypnotist on. I had Patrick Picard. He's
Patrick speak French, yeah, but he's from Belgium.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, so tell me about stage hypnosis in France.
Stage hypnosis in France. In France, we put people on floor.
Yes. Yes. Do you know what? The Americans watching this now are just, their minds are being blown. Yeah, I love to put people on the floor. Oh, sorry, I've got Jason's knee in the stream now. Jason, be very careful with the camera position. This is a family show. So France is. You do a lot. Is there a lot of holiday parks out there? What's your audience at the moment?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
What's your main target market in France for hypnosis? Mine
is camping.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I was a camping manager last year, and I started hypnosis this year.
Brilliant.
I'm a baby hypnotist.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now we've connected on YouTube, haven't we?
Yeah, on YouTube. Yes, and also on the Paul Ramsay group on Discord.
Yes, brilliant. The stuff that you're putting out is really good. When you just said that you're like it's your first year as a performer, that's really cool. But I suppose being involved in the parks, that kind of gives you an understanding of performing in presentations as well. Anyway.
Yeah, it's very good to share experience and a different point of view.
Yes, absolutely. Richard Cole, the Canadian one, says, "What is camping?"
What is camping?
It's how do you explain camping?
It's holiday park.
Yeah, holiday parks.
Holiday parks. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I suppose is no, we don't. We call them. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it does seem to be a really popular market there, but then I suppose France is a really popular holiday destination. Personally, for me in the UK, holiday parks is a big market for me as well. I have 3 parks that I work, which give me, I'd probably say a third of my income stream for the year comes from those parks, which is really good. And the great audiences. How is it with children in France when it comes to the stage shows?
On stage, I take children from 15.
Yeah.
Not before. It's for me in holiday parks. It's mixed. I don't have a lot of young people on stage. In fact, more adults. Yeah.
I think it's for me personally, I think that's important. If you have lots of children on stage, we run hazard of looking like a children's entertainer.
Exactly.
And I know loads of magicians that hate it when, couples will push their kids forward for a magic trick. And I would hate hypnosis to be seen that way. But I was recently in America, and I was shocked at the ages in America because there is no age kind of limit. You can have children as young as you want on stage, which is a bit weird.
In France too, there is no law for that. But for me, when you take children on stage, they don't have the reference. When you do a suggestion, for example, in my show, I talk about Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
Children don't know that. So it's a simple example. And it's less funny. I prefer adults.
Yeah, absolutely. It's more fun to make people do something or make an adult do something a bit strange.
Yeah.
So, well, what got you into it as a running a holiday park? What was your first experience with stage hypnosis?
My first experience. So I was holiday park manager, and an hypnotist came to my place, and he asked me to help him. So my first show was with a confirmed hypnotist, but I put my first people on the floor.
Nice.
And it was last August.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and this summer really I have something like 40 shows in less than 2 months.
Brilliant.
Good start.
Exactly. And you know what?
It's not because it's France, huh? It's just because I have big network and I work a lot.
I think that's the thing that a lot of people coming into the industry struggle with. No disrespect to any of the trainers that are out there. but they are, we are sold this. This is an amazing career. You can earn tens of thousands. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And then you spend your money and you do your training course. And then afterwards, you just sit and wait for stuff to happen. It doesn't happen. I think having that network and that work ethic really helps. The guys that I know that do really well are guys like yourself that kind of understand the business of the industry and then utilize or leverage that network in order to get those bookings as well. So yeah, but yeah, 40 odd bookings in your first year is phenomenal.
Yeah, it is. It is. My colleague in France, working since several years, are a little bit jealous.
Yeah, yeah.
You can imagine. Some people start hypnosis 10 years ago, and this summer they will do 5-6 shows.
Yeah, yeah.
But
and
it's all about, first, I am a commercial before to be an hypnotist.
Yes.
You have to understand that.
Yeah, I think so many people get caught up in the wanting to be the hypnotist rather than the businessman of rather than the business of hypnosis, if you know what I mean. So yeah, it's absolutely right. Yeah. So what was you tell me about your you said about that first show? What was your first solo show like?
It was very good, in fact. Very good.
Mine wasn't.
But I prepared it a lot, and my show is a little bit different than that what we can see. It's really it is a story.
Yeah.
So I prepared it a lot, and I took the good choice with my story, and it worked good.
Yeah.
But as I say, I have an issue because, as you can change your show at the last moment.
Yes.
Just check the public and maybe tonight I will not do that. In my show, I have to follow the line.
Brilliant.
So at one moment, maybe I will be blocked.
What's your favorite routine to do?
My favorite routine. I would say amnesia.
Yeah.
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 But the same thing. I do it a little bit naturally in my show. I asked people names, and there was one girl, for example, Vanessa, and I would say, "Oh, Vanessa. Oh, okay." I come back, and I come back later. I say, "Your name is Vanessa." Okay, no, it's not anymore your name. Your name is Jacqueline, for example. Yeah. Then I explain to the public that Vanessa, it's my ex-girlfriend. So I don't want to do a show with Vanessa all the night. And, all my show is a little bit like that.
Yes. So Paul Ramsay says, a Welshman, an Englishman, and a Frenchman walk into a live stream. Absolutely right, Paul Ramsay. Yes.
You should join us.
Jason, tell us about your first show or your most memorable show as well.
Most memorable show or first show? Oh my God. I think the most memorable show was the one that went really wrong.
Yeah, they do stick in your mind.
Oh, it was bad.
Yeah.
Well, I mentioned about when my trousers split.
Yeah.
So that was the start of the show. And then I had somebody up on stage and they were great. They were out, everybody I put the men on the floor. I think it's actually on my YouTube picture. The men were on the floor, the women in the chairs, blah, blah, blah. It was great. Absolutely going well. Then all of a sudden, one of the guys just went, well, just wasn't right. You could see he wasn't right. He was wandering and God knows what. And, well, I just didn't know. I was out of rhythm and because I split my trousers, I was walking around with no shoes on. Anyway, so this guy, he just kept wandering, tried putting him back out, blah, blah, blah. And you could see he wasn't right. So anyway, show carried on. The wife was with me. And I said, look, you need to look after this guy, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, okay. It turns out that he had been abused as a child.
Wow.
And it was the first time he properly relaxed. And all of a sudden, all this come flashing back to him.
Yeah.
And I said, I wish I'd known before, blah, blah, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that just sticks in my mind like you would not believe.
I think it's why it's important that stage hypnotists have some basic understanding of the therapy side of things as well. I think it's, we are going into people's minds and pulling stuff out. And it's about, because that's happened to you, you'll be very conscious of that for future shows as well, which is
definitely.
Is really
but straight after that, I had another show, which was like the following weekend. And I'm there and I'm like, if this one goes wrong, that is the end of it.
Yeah.
And thankfully, it was actually in the place where we were supposed to be doing the show.
Oh, brilliant.
And it went okay.
Good. That's it. Yeah. So it should be good. So if you were to give one piece of advice to a French hypnotist, what would it be, Jason?
Bit of advice. Just try and listen to as many different hypnotists as possible. Just try and take a little bit, even if it's one word. I said to you, Grant, many years ago, I went on a course with Ray Ronson, and it was brilliant. Yes. Really enjoyable. And he said one line, and I'm like, "What did you just say?" And he said it again, and that for me was worth the course. All. I'm not saying go on courses, just talk to other hypnotists. The stuff I picked up off you, Grant. I keep teaching you. So yeah, it's just try and just keep talking to everybody, and just try and everybody's in it together, no matter no matter where you are. Everybody's in together and working together and helping each other and making the industry better.
Yes, I think that's what it is. As a collective, and it's like Paul Ramsay's mastermind group is exactly about that. It's about how can we all work together to make, our industry, one, more acceptable, and two, funnier, more dramatic, better at what we do. I actually really love I love the style of like Italian and French hypnotists, like Patrick Picard. There's a couple of guys that are really, really good in Europe now. And there seems to be more drama to the stage hypnosis. Us UK guys, I think we're a bit too permissive. Like, please, can you come on stage? And the Americans, like, there's a lot of Americans watching this. I'll
careful.
I'll filter myself. But in America, because they're so used to stage hypnosis, it makes it a lot more easier. And it for me, it feels more casual in the USA for stage hypnosis.
Yeah.
So I think different countries, even though we all fundamentally do the same stuff and the same routines, the way it's delivered is very different. And so that's interesting. And so maybe we should get you over here to do a show in England, and we could maybe come over to France. And I don't know if French people would be able to understand Welsh people. Us English people struggle with that, to be fair.
Carry on. I'll get your stream blocked.
Quite interesting, because we've got 3 different languages here. I mean, in France, obviously you do your shows in French. What is the French word for sleep, and is that the word you shout to them?
So I would say dors or dormez.
Yeah.
But we can use a lot of different words because we don't have the sleep.
Yeah.
I'm not using it as with a big authority, just for the induction. Dop. Or a lot of hypnotists, and I do it also. We do just the tone song.
Yeah.
And they understand.
Oh, hang on a minute. As usual, when something's going off in Europe, America has to stick its beak in. Let's have a look, see what we got here. There we go. Now we've got an American. What's up? That's it. There's no. We're all going to be liberated. Freedom is here,
gentlemen. And I'm still learning my Grant Saunders. And the dude used that. See, I can't do it yet. That's what you have the weirdest accent of any English person I've ever met. You do. I love you dearly. You know that. But I just can't. Every time it's like this thing that always sticks around.
Oh, it's Yorkshire. Yeah, I'm from Manchester, but I live
what's all this about then? Everybody got a beard, and I'm just.
Yeah, you need to catch up, man.
I'm looking the best, actually.
The program. Facial hair increases your hypnotism results by 33%. It's in the journal.
Absolutely.
I totally made that up for the.
I look at pictures from like pre-pandemic of this beard, and I'm like, I am never going back to a bald chin again.
I'm telling you, can you please do the Van Dyke for a while? Just try it.
Oh yeah, this little bit for a while as well, didn't he? The
little soul patch.
Do like the Count of Monte Cristo thing would just. I think you'd kill it.
I quite fancy like a handlebar mustache.
No.
Or the YMCA one just around here. There's actually Grant accent doesn't belong anywhere. That's true. Apparently, when I say the word lovely, I say that wrong.
Lovely.
Use it lovely.
Say it again.
See, when I try to do you, all of a sudden I become Scottish. I don't know why. I think it's because I'm going for that thing.
It's a lovely. Yeah,
lovely.
But that's why I like going to the US, because they're like, oh my God, you're English. You're like Hugh Grant. I'm like, not really Hugh Grant.
But Grant, lovely is spelled L-O, not L-U.
I'm not having a Welshman telling me how to spell. You guys just take all the letters that are left over and just go, that's a town name.
Yeah.
Where do you live? He can't say. Let's not say words I can't say.
We say tongue.
Say
tongue. What's wrong?
Sure. Yeah.
What is this? Anyway.
No, get back to it. Come on. Say it again.
If you've just tuned in to Grant Talks Funny Bit, we're talking about the importance of having authority in stage hypnosis.
You've lost this one.
Yeah. Why I thought this was a good idea. No, but do you know what? It actually is for just exactly this. It's, getting 4 people together from 4 very different parts of the world. We all pretty much do exactly the same thing. And we have Sam Lyons in the house as well. Sam is a fantastic entertainer here in the UK, a comedy vocalist. Sam, hopefully you are well and good. I can't believe we've not gigged together yet, Sam, because we live like literally next door to each other. Because I've worked with some weird acts, not that Sam's a weird act. I've worked with some interesting acts over the years. What's the weirdest acts that you guys have worked with? Being a park manager, you must have seen some interesting kind of variety cabaret acts at your park. So yeah, let's start with France. What's the weirdest act you've seen or worked with?
For me, weird act.
Strange, unusual act.
No, in camping, it's all about magic show, cabaret.
Yeah.
Classical.
No.
Hypnosis was new for me. I knew a little bit about hypnosis because I was interested to that maybe 20 years ago, but too young, no authority, no charisma.
Yeah.
I was too young for that. Then, no, it's classical.
Yeah.
In parks, it's family show. And when you are an hypnotist, you have to think that it's a family show.
Yeah.
For camping, you have to be very careful about that.
Yeah, weird mute psycho singing clowns at drag acts. What else? Yeah, I love really unusual entertainment. There's a guy in the UK. I've not worked with him yet. I really want to. Mr. B, the Gentleman Rhymer. He does a thing called chap hop. So you imagine classic R&B hip hop played with a bowler hat, a handlebar mustache on a ukulele in the style of an old English gentleman. Guys, you need to check it out. Chap hop on YouTube. It is amazing. But I like stuff that's unusual. It's one of the things that I like about the Got Talent acts. I think it's kind of brought the variety entertainment back again, which is really good. And like Christina Lennon, who's been on the show, she did the whole Hypno Dog thing. I think unusual entertainment, it just gets missed. It's so easy. Have you? I see Paul's just found Chap Hop on YouTube.
No, I'm looking at the dog.
Oh,
This dog's beautiful, and I'm like, he's holding a biscuit.
yes.
I'll tell you the I didn't get to work with him, so I'm cheating your question a little bit.
Yeah.
But I will never in my life forget watching Stevie Starr.
Yeah.
He's from I don't, he's from England, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
His manager was a Scotsman, I think, but he was in, and I caught his show twice, and it blew me away both times. It was one of those classic, like if you saw a magic show that was fantastic, you would go back and watch it and really like lean in and try to watch it and figure out what's going on. And I did that the second time around, and I just couldn't. And I was like, this guy is amazing. And and for people who don't, for people who haven't heard of him, his moniker is Stevie Starr, the human regurgitator. And his whole act is he swallows objects and brings them back up.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're
I
talking
used to know a girl like that.
light bulbs, cue balls, billiard balls, padlocks. Yeah, I'm gonna pretend. We're moving on. Keep it classy, Grant. So, but so and when he starts the show, he says, people ask him all the time, is this real or is it a con? And I tell him it's a con, but it's a great fucking con.
Yeah.
And when he said that in the first show, that was like, oh, I was like, all right, what's good? And I just couldn't figure it out. And then a couple years later, I got a chance to see him again. I watched it again. I couldn't figure it out, And I remember he kept swallowing water, and he swallowed a bunch of dish soap at the beginning and water, which he said lubricated his throat. And I was like, but if it's a con and you're not really swallowing anything, why do you need to do that? I was like, well, maybe it just sells it, And I remember going into the men's room after the show, and he came into the men's room and made himself vomit into the toilet because he had drank so much water that I guess that was part of his routine, was he had to purge the water after. And I was like, what? I was like, what is, if it's a con, what is why is this happening? It never left me. I was like, either way, there's some kind of incredible level of dedication there. Yeah. That's the part that always stuck with me.
I worked with, I can't remember his name now. He runs a show in the UK called the Circus of Horrors. And it was a really interesting corporate gig in Blackpool years ago. And it was, when the bookers just got it wrong. And I remember everyone was in cocktail dresses and it was all very black tie and very posh. And they've come out throwing live maggots into the audience. But yeah, so he's done this trick where he's got like a Stanley knife. He's opened his waistcoat up, got the Stanley knife, jabbed it into his stomach. Oh, in fact, no, he gets a piece of string, swallows it, gets the Stanley knife, jabs it into his stomach, cuts it down, and then pulls the piece of string or piece of wool out. And afterwards, I'm like, wow, how do you actually do that? Is it like a bit of like prosthetic false stomach? And he's like, no, he says about 3 hours before the show, he says, I get this needle, I get this piece of string, and I jab it right into my stomach and feed it under the fat of my belly, let it heal. And then on the night of the show, like a couple of hours later, when it's healed at the sides, I get the Stanley knife, stick it into my belly and cut it out. And I'm like, how much are they paying you to do this one trick that you're willing to just stab yourself and cut yourself open? But an amazing performer, but so dedicated to his show that he would do that.
So crazy.
Oh,
I had a mentalist that I co-headlined with a few times when we were four-walling. And that was a lot of fun. And it wasn't just because, I mean, he was just great, but we're friends to this day. Like it was just great to do. And I think that the bigger treat for me was, for years and years and years, I only worked on my own. I only got hired to work my show at some event, And when I finally got to share a night with someone else, that different dynamic was like just so much fun. And so I thought, man, like if I had been born in an earlier time, maybe I would have worked that, I don't know, like vaudeville circuit or something. You know what I mean? You sound like, would you have been a carny?
Oh, do you know what? I absolutely, with a passion, love vaudeville. I was talking to someone about this, like, if I won the lottery tomorrow, I would buy myself a Spiegel tent and I would be on the road with my tent, and just that would be me happy. I've been to a couple of events that are literally done that in the old Victorian Spiegel tents, and it's just, for me, it's, yeah, I love it. I love vaudeville. I don't understand, like, burlesque did what burlesque did. Why didn't vaudeville come back? And so, yeah, it needs to, like a modern vaudeville, it has to happen. That's why I had the goatee thing for so long, the little soul patch, because I don't know, in my mind it was a nod to those kind of times. But yeah, vaudeville is
cool, Grant.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
That was mysterious. Or to quote Andrew Newton, who is a great hypnotist who has not been on the show yet, who I would love to have on if anybody could nudge him. I think Andrew Newton said, Grant, if you think having that vagina on your chin makes you somehow unique, you've got another thing coming. Which I'm not actually adding to my poster testimonials. But yeah, but no, I think that old style short routines, variety entertainment is a dying art, which is a shame. But yeah, I think the Got Talent, America's Got Talent, Britain's Got Talent is bringing those quirky acts back a little bit more now, hopefully.
I done a show with a drag act from Gran Canaria, Trixie Licks. Oh my God. Absolutely unhinged.
Trixie Licks.
Yeah, Trixie Licks from Gran Canaria. Oh my God. And he done part of his act, or her act, was for Amy Winehouse.
Oh wow.
And well, you can imagine where he went with it. In the end, he had a bag of flour. And part of the act, if you had seen the state, thank God I went on first and he came on after, because the audience was just plastered in flour. It was absolute bloody carnage. I don't think I'd do one again with a drag act.
Yeah. I've worked with a couple. I find them fascinating. Like, I don't know where they get the shoes from. But yeah.
I was more interested to see where he tucked his bits away.
So
that's the perfect contrast right there.
Yeah.
One wondering where the bits go, the other wondering where the shoes come from.
Exactly.
How
like,
did he do that?
Shoes. Yeah.
Apparently, there's plenty of gaffer tape.
I wonder where you were going with that then. A drag act friend of mine put it very succinctly when they went, "Where do you think it is?" That's why I've got a smile on my face. Yes. Yes.
So, Grant, where did the princess come from?
I don't know. I don't know where this.
So why didn't you bring Natasha on to tell us?
Where did it start from? I think it started from Lan, a girl that works in the office. And then it's just spilled out to wherever I am, because I don't like messy food. I've got a very weak stomach when it comes to stuff like that. And during the pandemic, we did some like live streaming in order to raise money for some local charities, and to like do some local wedding businesses, and it kept them all engaged. And very quickly they started to go, well, why don't we raise some money and get Grant to do some challenges? And we did a thing called Grant versus Al. And so they made me eat horrible things whilst presenting. So it started off as Christmas as crackers. Then it very quickly went on to Carolina Reaper chilies. So I had to present a whole show having eaten 2 Carolina Reaper chilies, which is the world's hottest chilies. And all of this was raising money for charity, but they just got out of hand. So these people were like, oh, let's get them to do like the fermented herring challenge. It's disgusting. They made me eat it. And because I'm dead competitive, I had to do it. But on every single live stream, I was sick or was crying. And hence they then started to call me princess, because I'm quite delicate.
Or drama queen.
Drama queen, yes. But then for some reason, everywhere I go, this whole princess thing seems to follow me. Yes, that is true. Is that?
Come on.
I know.
For real?
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, no, do you know? Do you know what it was? And this is where they were really clever. It was for Sheffield Children's Hospital, so that was really good. So you can't really say no. And it was in the middle of the pandemic. So what they all said was, it's easy to raise money. We'll all do bids to make Grant eat this stuff. Or if Grant wants to, he can buy his way out of these challenges, which is great. But I hadn't worked for 18 months. So I'd just sit there crying, being sick, whilst eating eyeballs and lamb's testicles.
With a tiara on.
With a tiara on. But we raised some great money for Sheffield Children's Hospital. And I actually got myself a Grant versus Al winner trophy at the end of the season. Yeah. It was good fun. But do you know what? It was weird. I mean, we talk about this a little bit and we don't really talk about the pandemic now, but it helped me as a business person diversify. I, for years, and a lot of guys doing what we do the same. I'm a performer. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to sell back of room. I'm too good for that. I'm not, all of this stuff that I was too proud to do or thought I was too good to do because my pride was I'm a performer. The pandemic hit and all of that went out of the window. And it's like, do you know what? I need to do anything and everything I can do now to pivot my business. And for me, I was quite lucky at live streaming. And again, Jason, we talk about this. You got me onto the live streaming, and that's done me really well now. And it's a big part of my business model now. Now I'm at the stage where anything to do with hypnosis, mindset, feel good stuff, as long as I'm delivering value, if I can make money from it, I'm going to do it. And so eating those lamb's testicles, and Jason being from Wales, don't tell me you've never done it.
I have to say no.
But for me, it's one of the things I think us as business people in the business of performing, we have to look at different ways of making sure we've got those multiple income streams so that when we can't perform, we are comfortable, which is important. Which brings us like a serious point at the end of it. We have a responsibility to deliver value, but we also have a responsibility to look after ourselves first. I used to be a road hog and I didn't mind. I'd be up for 34 hours sometimes going from show to show to show, not sleeping and thinking that was something that is good for me. Now it's like I put Grant Saunders first and foremost, then my cat, and then everybody else.
Hey, you need to remember your wife, mate.
Yeah.
Should be watching it at some point.
No, but it's sometimes, and this is going off on a bit of a tangent. Us as men, we have to sometimes we do take on responsibilities of everybody else. Even as fathers, brothers, sons, we take on responsibility of family and all of these things. But the reality is we have to, this is going a bit serious, but we have to start with ourselves first. Our mental health is important, starting with us so then we can look after other people. I was a martyr for years for that, and that caused me to be ill. There's no kind of honor in that. You've got to start with you first and then help other people. You, Jason, you're a foster carer as well. What you do is amazing work, but you've got to look after you first. Otherwise, you can't do the work that you do.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I know. But,
and it's, without getting political, we live in a world now where a lot of our needs, wants, identity, masculine energy, a lot of that stuff is looked down upon. And it's a very difficult time to be a middle-aged man. And Jason, however old he is.
How long did it take you to answer the phone? Going back, start a pandemic, 2 weeks.
A long time. But I spoke about it openly. That was my darkest moment. It was so dark. I answered the phone to Jason.
Look where you are now.
Do you know what I mean? But that's what we do. And as men, we do struggle with these types of things. It's not where I wanted this show to go tonight, but I think it is an important thing that as performers, we've got to look after our mental health. I do what I do, and most people that are good performers do it because on some level, for ego or for whatever. We want that validation from external purposes. We need that applause. And sometimes we've got to look at maybe balancing that out a little bit.
Well, look at bad shows. When you get a bad show, how, my God, what did you message me? You were in an old age pensioners hall, wasn't it? Was it, or something like that?
Yeah, I did. I think I did a 90th birthday party once.
I was
awesome.
And I was like, what did you message me? There's 4 people here.
Yeah. Most of the people in the home had gone to like a coach trip to Spain or something daft like that, but they had budget, so yeah.
But yeah, bad shows do affect people as well, mind.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Really bad. Whenever I'm terrible, good show, bad show, I always overanalyze it, and it's like driving home, it's going round and round. I wish I'd done that. I wish I'd done that. Oh my God. Terrible.
Yeah. It's why having a good support network, having another hypnotist that you can drop a message to on Facebook or wherever by going, do you know what, dude, I had a shit show, for them to go, you know what I mean? It's good to have that. What a roller coaster of topics tonight.
From sheep's balls.
Yeah.
What was your best gig though? Never mind, like not the show itself, like the overall gig. What was the best gig you ever had? Jason, Grant, either one.
My favorite gig is coming up in a couple of weeks' time.
You get to do it over and over again?
This particular venue, it's a festival up in Scotland, and it's just amazing. That's in an old Spiegel tent. It's called the Venus Flytrap tent. There's a video on YouTube where you see a guy dancing with another guy and he takes his top off and wraps it around him. That's the venue. So it's in an old Spiegel tent. Everyone's sat in the chairs around, and it's my favorite show to do. My favorite gig I've ever done, and I'll tell everybody this one, was Balmoral Castle, performing at Balmoral Castle. Just because it was just so surreal. I didn't think it was real. But then the story of it is I ended up pinned to the floor by armed police. And any night that ends with you pinned to the floor by armed police.
I remember the castle name, but I remember you telling me that story. And I was wondering if it was the one where he got attacked at the end of the night.
Yeah. Any night that ends like that is a good night, I think. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. What about yourself, Paul?
The best gig I ever had was I got hired by a production company that was contracted for Bud Light.
Nice.
And there was a big campaign here in the United States. It started with a Super Bowl commercial. They did this Super Bowl commercial that had Don Cheadle, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, it was a huge production, and it went over, the classic, like, viral, right? Like, it had gone viral as a commercial, and then it went so well that then they were like, well, now what do we do? Like, and so they had a website as part of the whole thing, and somebody on the website, just an ordinary everyday person, was like, so the premise of the commercial was this guy that they hired, he was hired, but he didn't know what was going to happen. That was the deal. Like, they were like, we'll pay you to do this thing, but the whole thing we're paying you for is you're not going to know what's happening, and you just need to go along with it. And he was like, okay. So he walks into a bar and he orders a Bud Light, and the server comes over with a Bud Light on a platter, and she goes, you order a Bud Light? And he's like, yeah. And she says, if I give you this Bud Light, do you accept everything that comes along with it? And he goes, yeah, okay, I'm up for whatever. And she gives it to him, and as soon as she gives it to him, shit goes crazy. Like, people come in, they grab him, they take him out and put him in a limo. The limo has Questlove from The Roots DJing in the limo. The limo takes him to a loft apartment in New York City where I can't remember her name, but a gorgeous, famous actress gives him a quick makeover, changes his clothes and stuff. He leaves there, gets in the elevator. He's going back down. The elevator stops and opens, and Don Cheadle's standing there with a llama, and they get on the elevator. Like, it just keeps going on and on. Like, it just, and the final thing is he walks into what seems like a room, a normal room, and he walks in, and there's Arnold Schwarzenegger on a ping pong table, and Schwarzenegger's like, prepare to meet your doom, and he has to play Arnold Schwarzenegger in ping pong. And when he beats him and when he wins, all the walls fall down, and it was a fake room. And can't remember. I think it was One Republic, big famous rock band, and like all this like all these people are there, and they play a final song, and like, it was crazy, right? Like, and so what this person online wrote on the website was like, you know, it was super cool that you did that for that one person, but like, what if you did something that more people could enjoy? Like, do something that had bigger scale. So they were like, that's a great idea. So they planned this whole second thing for the next year. And what they did was they scouted different cities in America, and they got a deal with Crested Butte, Colorado, up in the Rockies, a ski town. And they paid the town to rent part of the town for the weekend. Like, they found the town that wasn't called Main Street, but it functioned as the main street of the town. And they paid them to have that street and all of the businesses on that street. And they blocked off the ends of it. They literally painted the street Bud Light blue. They went into every single business and said, what do you do? And how can we change it? We'll pay you to keep your staff. So like, there was all the restaurants, they're like, we want you to stay open and work. But we want you to reduce your menu to 5 items and only serve 5 items, because we're going to bring in 1,000 winners and we want them to be able to eat. So you'll be our craft service. And they were like, okay. And then they found like a souvenir shop, and they said, we want you to take all the Crested Butte souvenir stuff out of here for the weekend. We're going to stock it with Bud Light stuff. And any of our contest winners that come in, it's a big swag room. They can have whatever they want. And they're like, okay. So they did that for all these different businesses. And then they hired artists, right? They hired everything from old school nostalgic groups like Casey and the Sunshine Band to Vanilla Ice to more modern DJs like Testo and Marshmello and stuff like that. And they had, at the one end of the street, they built a stage, and they had musical acts all weekend long. And then they even had an offsite, big, huge tent that they basically made into a nightclub, and they could go there and party at night. And so they brought in 1,000. They had people. It was a campaign. They said, you have to submit a video on YouTube telling us why you think you're up for whatever. They took that same phrase from the earlier, and people submitted, and they picked 500 winners. They let each of them bring one friend. Nice. And when they told them they won, they said, all right, you're a winner. Give us your information. Give us your friend's information. We're going to get you a plane ticket. And that was the first step. And they literally, think about the logistics of this, you guys. Like, they worked out a deal with airlines and airports. And when those contest winners showed up, on the screen, it didn't say they were going to Crested Butte. It said they were going to whatever USA. They didn't know where they were going. They had to show every step of the way that they were really up for whatever, for an adventure. They didn't tell them what clothes to pack, nothing. So they just sort of did their best. They got on these planes and they flew them to 5 different airports around Crested Butte, and then they bussed them in. In one day, they bussed in 1,000 people from 5 different airports from all over the United States. And then they just partied for the whole weekend.
Nice.
And then they had camera crews that went around nonstop, filmed it all. And then they took all that footage and made it into a whole new set of Super Bowl commercials, a whole set of social media campaigning. Yeah. And they maximized their investment out of it. But they spent millions and millions of dollars. So they hired me to, there was an independent theater on that street. So they had me do a stage show on Friday night and street hypnosis on Saturday. It was awesome. It was so awesome.
That sounds epic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trust you Americans.
I was literally doing street hypnosis Saturday. I'm on the street and I'm doing street hypnosis. And I start noticing, like, people are all turning their attention away and starting to drift off down the street. And then phones are coming out and phones are up. I'm like, well, something's coming. And so I finish with the person I'm with, and I don't start with anyone new, and I'm watching. And then I see there's this vehicle coming down the street. But I'm like, that's not right. This street's closed off. And it was like a little box truck. and it's coming more and more down, and finally it's coming down, and I can see it's this white box truck van, and old fashioned looking, and on the top it says vanilla ice cream truck. And I'm like, no way, because they didn't tell us what was going on either. They're like, we're hiring you, that's all you need to know. So, and then look, sure enough, it comes down, and Vanilla Ice is in the truck giving out ice cream sandwiches to people. And that was his entrance. They drove him down the street. People got to take pictures with him. He's giving them ice cream. They drove him all the way up to the stage, and then he got up on stage and did a quick set. And it was just stuff like that. Like the amount of stuff that they thought of was just crazy.
Yeah,
crazy. It was
that is nuts. I remember the gig in Scotland. The second year I did it, I was dead pleased. It was Lewis Capaldi was on, and at the time it's when Lewis Capaldi was at his peak. So I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. But because I was in the Spiegel tent, he was on the main stage. I'm English, everyone's Scottish, so I got a challenge anyway. But obviously, you can imagine the challenge that all of a sudden this English hypnotist has come on at the same time that Lewis Capaldi's come on at the main stage, and you're like, no. Do you know what I mean? He's like the king of Scotland, and everyone's just like, hi guys. That was definitely a challenge. I think that's one of the great things about what we do is, one day you can be at like this amazing venue, this amazing gig, and the next day you can be somewhere completely different, like a bread and butter gig. I think stage hypnosis is still so unique, even though like when you're in the industry, or like everyone's doing the same routines, but the majority of the world still sees what we do as being very unique, very different. And we can get booked from stately homes, royal castles, amazing gigs in towns and theatres. And so, yeah, it's absolutely amazing.
Part of it's being a performer, though, too. You like that whole process of like what generally I guess they'd call paying your dues, right? Like I remember, so you contrast that, the best gig I ever had with, I remember performing at a fair where they literally put me on a trailer stage in between the frog jumping contest and the fish and chip stand. Like, like it goes both ways. And I remember seeing, and it's not just us, right? Like I remember seeing a fantastic interview. I watched it on YouTube, but it was the Graham Norton show. And it was Kevin Hart talking about how when he started out, the kind of gigs he worked in, how like he was working a gig once where someone threw a chicken wing at him and hit him in the eye, and it was like a buffalo chicken wing, so like the sauce got in his eye and it stung. And like it's like if you're gonna do it, you're gonna have to go through some level of that. I've never heard anyone who's like, oh yeah, I just started working amazing gigs right away. Like,
yeah, right.
We joke about it, but it is, you do learn so much from those challenging shows. And I've had some, I did my last COVID wedding. And like literally they'd booked and paid for it before the pandemic. So that money was spent. So I mean, and then they kept moving it, which was good. And every time they sent an email going, we're thinking about cancelling the wedding. Can we get our money back? I went, if you need to, we can do. But I'm happy to move to any date you want. And it finally came around, and I was so pleased that this couple could have the day that they wanted. And they were so excited about my hypnosis show. And I remember walking out and everybody was hammered, drunk and high, and I'm like, this is not good. And the guy that runs the photo booth was going, oh, my friend's a hypnotist. He went, you're gonna struggle. And I thought, I'll show you. And I went out, and I'm like, oh god, this is not working. And you're working it, you are flogging. That's where the term comes from, flogging a dead horse, when you're trying to get a show out of them when they don't want a show at all. And that was only 6 months ago. So to still have that, maybe I should have said I'm not going to do the show. Who knows? It's what you do, guys. I've really enjoyed tonight. It's been good fun. We have got a bit of a tangent. Must make a note to make sure I sort out a guest for next week. But I think it's interesting to do these every now and then, just kind of have everybody jump on and have a conversation, because it's a great way of meeting new hypnotists as well, and getting a connection where we can all go to France and get a free vacation at a holiday park.
Yes, please.
You only want that because it's be warmer.
Exactly.
Than Wales.
I don't know if we'll be going to a holiday in Wales. It's always rainy and cold there. So, guys, thank you very much for joining me. Natasha, if you could, is there a link to the mastermind? How do people get information about that, Paul?
It's just stagehypnotistmastermind.com.
Yep. Guys, Jason, are you in it?
No.
What are you playing at? It's a mastermind. Would we let a Welsh person in?
We welcome anyone who takes it seriously. That's all. We just asked it. No, Jason, like anyone who cares about the craft is what like we joke around all the time. You know that, but like we're just really trying to create a space. And again, I left that comment earlier, and I mean it so much. Like it all came from Grant doing this and me seeing the environment he was creating with this. And I was like, man, this is what we just got to be doing more of. Like we all should be doing this more. And so I just wanted to create a space where we could keep doing that. And it's been good so far. There's a lot of growing to do still, but as long as you really want to work on your craft. Yeah. And
I think because it's a mastermind, it's stage hypnotists in there talking about the craft. I mean, this is public. So there's also an element of, there's an element of filtering that we're going to put there as well. But in the mastermind, it is, you can, openly talk about issues, stuff that's kind of causing you pain points within your performance. So yeah, I'm a big fan of it. Natasha says no egos allowed. I don't know about
that. We've been very blessed so far. We have at some point statistically, I suppose we'll have to deal with that. But so far, it is one of the, that's just any kind of distribution, right? Like we have egos in our profession, but so far everyone has been so kind to one another and so supporting of each other. And I love it. I feel really blessed.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm happy to be part of it. Do you know what I mean? I think what you've done is an amazing thing as well.
Thank you.
So there's a lot of love in this room tonight. Guys, thank you for joining me. Next week, we will be back with Grant Talks Funny Bits. Guys, do put your social medias in the chat as well. And then hopefully some people will follow you along as well. Really looking forward to continuing seeing the stuff you're putting up on YouTube as well. And guys, for me, from Jason, from Paul, from everybody, have an absolutely fantastic day. Take care. God bless.
Adios, amigos.